Good evening and salutations, my Jade fans. Okay, so the scene with Olivia, and this whole Quartermain house thing, I still feel like in some ways she is still overreacting. Okay, on one hand, I don't understand why she practically, the minute that Ned got there, Olivia was like, "Hey, listen, if you're not going to come back and stay, if you're not going to sit there and be my Ned Quartermain, then you can sit there and leave." Okay. I don't understand that because not that long ago she was trying to do everything that she could to sit there and get him to come back over, to sit there and stay and this, that, and the third, and trying to bring him back to the house. And now that he's here, you're just like, well, if you don't remember who you are, you're not going to be my net, then I don't really want you here. And I'm like, okay. Now I understand to some extent that maybe part of the reason why she didn't want him back there was because of Leo, to confuse Leo and everything like that. And I get that. And even, when Leo does see him, it is kind of awkward in the beginning. And Ned, or Eddie, this is going to be so confusing, I start to call him Eddie. He tries to explain the best way he can that, hey, listen, I'm not your dad or whatever. And, they talk for a little bit. Leo talks about animals and stuff like that. So it does seem like it kind of like helps him out a little bit. He isn't going to stay. He just came by there, I guess, to visit. And Cody was snipped there. 1 second. Cody was snipped there trying to talk, I guess, some sense into Olivia. Hey, why don't you have him stay at the guest house or whatever, just to kind of work one, maybe trying to get him back instead of just telling him to kick rocks. He doesn't take it. He doesn't take the offer anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And in all reality, I feel like if he was actually going to stay there, it may do more harm than good. Because she's going to expect too much. She's going to sit there and push him. And then, of course, you have Leo, that he may sit there and at some point get confused and thinking that, in the beginning, he seemed like he was kind of disappointed that, he didn't get his dad back. So I don't see it as a good thing. Maybe him like staying there, like on the property. Maybe if he stays with Sunny, or whatever, they can do some visits back and forth. And I don't know. I'm telling you, this whole Eddie main storyline is not terrible. It's not super great out there. I don't know how many people was actually liking it so far. Um, all right, so let's get into this whole Lucy, Alicia, and Jackson and Anna thing. Long story short, he does want to drop the charges. The way that he figured them out was almost, for me, it was almost a little bit. It was so convoluted to some extent that I actually had to go back and rewatch it, and it has something to do with the fact that Felicia and Lucy basically said that their last names was Martin. They talked about humming cake a lot, and so Jackson just had that sixth sense or whatever, like something's kind of off. He knew it had something to do with Martin Gray, and he figured that Lucy was trying to like run some sort of scam or whatever. It gets a little more complicated because it has some, I guess Jackson was a client, well, not a client, he was a lawyer for one of Martin's exes, and it has something to do with Martin's mother that had this specific recipe for humming cake that she didn't want to sit there and divulge, and the ex-wife was going to sit there and be like, hey, listen, um I will sit there and sell this recipe. Long story short, he got her to sit there and basically keep her mouth shut, and that's how you kind of start putting like two and two together, like, oh, Martin and this, that, and third. And I'm just like, that was a lot. Now, people said it in the comment section yesterday. I didn't get it. Hell, I think some people actually said it in a live stream, and I still didn't get it. I think it mostly has something to do with the fact that the episode was really boring, so it just kind of skipped over my head. Um, Gregory. Gregory, I've ran a couple of Gregorys in my life, right? The type of person that will sit there and give you unsolicited advice, sit there and try to act like a know-it-all when you don't ask, right? So in the beginning, Gregory was sitting there thanking Tracy for, um, getting his son's job back. They go back and forth a little bit about Brooklyn and Chase and the fact that he's about the law and Brooklyn is pretty much a quarterman. She's a rule breaker or whatever. They talk for a little bit. Everything is kind of like nice and easy. And two, Gregory starts to give her starts to give her advice about um, Ned and like, hey, listen, I just want to sit there and say I'm sorry. I know you were pretty hurt and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where it's like she didn't ask you for that, you know. And I get it. At first she accused him of eavesdropping, but I mean they were both speaking really loud. But it's one of those things where it's like that's something between her and her son. She didn't ask you to sit there and talk about her business, you know. So of course she snaps at him. They go back and forth. His ALS starts to act up, and um, Alexis just happened to be in the park or whatever, and saw that and kind of just like took him away from the situation. Maybe Tracy thought that he was drunk or something like that. She may actually feel like real crap when she finds out what is going on with, um, Gregory. And of course, she brought up, his relationship with Ben and how they didn't really talk for years and stuff like that. So it was like, Gregory, just in the future, you might want to sit there and just kind of ease up on trying to talk, trying to, I don't know, give comfort or counseling about somebody else and their children and stuff like that. Just leave that. You would honestly thought that he would have just stopped doing that a long time ago when he was first with Alexis and once again giving advice that she didn't ask for. But yeah, I feel like with certain people like that, it's kind of in a DNA, and you don't even realize that they're doing it until you get so upset that you end up snapping at them. So you got that whole thing going on, right? And I gotta be honest, the scene with Dante and Sam was not really that interesting. I mean, it just kind of gave viewers more of an insight to the fact that, like Mac, because Mac is not there trying to protect Cody, right? But he can't sit there and tell Cody, "Hey, listen, I need you to kind of step away from this world." So I guess Dante was not there telling her that he probably told you because he can't sit there and interfere in his own investigation. And how that investigation has been going on for months. They usually sit there and take maybe a couple weeks unless they got some hard evidence. So he's clearly sitting there protecting Cody. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait till Mac finds out that Dante knew the whole time. And it's one of those things where it's like you sit there and you talk to somebody face to face or whatever, and knowing that they're keeping a secret like that, yeah, he's gonna be kind of pissed off. There's no two ways about it. He's gonna be pissed off. Now, Alexis was talking to Sam about the fight between Molly and Christina, which was completely and utterly asinine. It doesn't really go anywhere except for the fact that Alexis wants to sit there and try to fix things. She knew it would be a bad idea, so she went to Sam's place instead. Sit there and kind of stop her from going off the rails and doing something stupid that's going to probably alienate Christina even further. They, their relationship is like, you never know with Christina or Alexis. Alexis sometimes will sit there and say something that is either stupid or insensitive. Like when she was sitting there really getting on her about her managing a bar. Chase and Brooklyn. Now, the reason why I actually like this scene is because Chase, he's realizing that one, he doesn't want to sit there and judge Brooklyn anymore or he doesn't want to feel like, he doesn't want her to feel like he's judging her, right? Which is why he didn't walk away from her when he found out that, Brooklyn's grandmother was the one that helped him get back his job and didn't say anything. He starts to, it's one of those things where it's like he starts to realize there's a lot of more gray areas and stuff like that. And that's just how, and honestly, to tell you the truth, that's just how Brooklyn is. And it's one of those things that, even in the live stream, she's been sitting there saying that for a hot minute. You're either going to accept this girl for who she is, or you need to sit there and peace out. Also, when Brooklyn was going to sit there and say the whole thing, like, hey, about the espionage and everything, Chase is like, you know what, listen, don't even do that. The less I know, the better. The less you're really in trouble, you feel you need to sit there and talk to me. I trust you. Took a while to actually get to that point. What are you on this like merry-go-round for like what 2 or 3 years? I've lost count. But the point is, he's starting to understand that you don't need to sit there and tell me everything, unless it's one of those things where it's like I got to try to get you out. With that being said, Brooklyn talks to Tracy and is like, "Yo, listen, I'm not spying anymore." And and Tracy was like, "Hey, if you don't sit there and continue helping me, I'll tell Chase everything. I'll tell him about the corporate espionage." And Brooklyn was like, "All right, go for it. Well, fine, I'll wait right here. Go for it." And she pretty much just kind of walks away. Now Tracy, it's like she has a backup plan, and I knew she had a backup plan. Let's be honest, but at this point, I'm still wondering. This whole thing goes down. Is she really gonna sit there and let Brooklyn just like go to jail for corporate espionage? Because at the end of the day, that is still your grandmother. I don't know. That's still your blood. That's still your family. So I just I'm assuming that she has some sort of way to sit there and get out of legal trouble because listen, they may sit there and lie and cheat and stuff like that with each other, but they do tend to close ranks, especially with Tracy. So I find it very interesting that she got her in this position in the first place, knowing that anything goes down, she can go to jail. Okay, like that's not a joke right there. That's time. Let's put it that way. That's time. How much time? I'm not a lawyer, but I know that that's time. I mean, hell, especially in soap opera. I mean, they sent Drew away like there was no tomorrow, and Drew was a decorated war hero, pretty much. Um, so yeah, I feel like that's about it for the most part. I can't really think of anything else that wound up happening. Also, this episode was not really that much better than yesterday's episode. Olivia still overreacts, just like today's episode, just like she did in yesterday's episode. And in some ways, it's almost kind of worse. Besides the whole Leo factor, um, the factor you're sitting there trying to get Ned away from the house and away from you seems kind of counterproductive. Like it really does. So I don't really truly understand that because that's not what she wanted in the beginning. Anyway, you can either catch this episode or miss it, or watch my review, or Brock TV's review. I'll watch both of our review because I'm pretty sure you'll probably find you'll probably find one of us more entertaining than this episode. With that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Stay safe, and if I miss anything, come to the live stream tonight. You know the time. Hopefully YouTube is actually giving out notifications if that's still a thing for YouTube. If not, it's 8 p.m. Eastern, so 5 p.m. Pacific. And I'll see you in the next video.